on day 3 of module 2, which is to be the boss of your reactions. And today we'll be discussing something that's very, I think, important in terms of how I look at it, and also very close to how I feel about working with emotions and working with the mind. And um, and the theme is emotional regulation versus emotional suppression. So how we can feel what we are feeling without becoming it. And just to understand, like, emotional regulation versus emotional suppression, what does it mean? We can sometimes think that regulation means to not feel emotions as much, not show emotions. It can mean that we feel like we have to maybe do away with emotion, and that's actually what suppression is, when we don't allow ourselves to really feel, express, embody what we are feeling. And we will learn to differentiate between suppression and conscious regulation. And I think this is one of the most important skills when it comes to our emotional life, our mental life. And yeah, so without further ado, as we usually start our session with intention setting. And to do that, I would first request you to just take a minute to really come to this practice today, come to this session. If it feels okay, closing your eyes, connecting with your body, your breath, and reassuring yourself that you have nowhere else to go, nothing to do. This is what you're bringing yourself to. And acknowledging how you feel, how does the body feel today, how the breath feels, without judging ourselves for our presence. So, really meeting yourself where you are. And then asking yourself the question, when difficult emotions arise, what do you usually do with them? When difficult emotions arise, what do you usually do with them? We tend to do different kinds of things. We can tend to suppress emotions. We can tend to distract ourselves, also very common. We could tend to overanalyze, overthink. We could isolate ourselves. We could stay busy and feel and act like nothing's happened. We could explode. We could pretend to be okay. We could numb out. So, what is it for you when difficult emotions arise? How do you deal with them? What do you usually do with them? And with that intention, to really understand what you do with them. And if we can manage that, then setting the intention to hold your emotion, um, and be kind to yourself while that is happening. Setting that intention and then proceeding with our time together today. So opening your eyes if your eyes were closed, and 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 like going back to how we are usually brought up, what we are told as kids. When a kid cries or throws a tantrum or is being difficult, we are we're often told, that we shouldn't be feeling this way, or we are taught to sometimes hide emotions. We're not taught how to move through emotion. Any kind of emotional display is often considered a weakness. You know, um, Too emotional is not a good word. We don't look at some, at least like some emotions very, very positively. We can judge ourselves, we can judge others at any strong display of emotion. And it's important to also acknowledge that emotions become strong because we haven't tended to them at the right time, in the right place, in the right manner. And we've not learned how to be able to sit with our emotion, how to deal with our emotion. So while this week we've been trying to understand more about emotional reactivity and emotional overload, today we are trying to understand as to how we can stay present with emotion without being consumed by emotion. Because even that is very important, and that's an integral part of emotional regulation. Regulation means that we acknowledge the presence of an emotion, and yet at the same time, we don't drown inside it. So um, we can have some sticky emotions inside of, we'll notice that some emotions come out more strongly inside us than others. So just again taking a moment to think about what it is for you, and then feeling it for yourself. Today I want to build a healthier relationship with the emotion of, and think about what it is for you. Today, I want to build a healthier relationship with the emotion of, whether it's anger, sadness, um, anxiety, overwhelm, shame, loneliness. Which is the emotion that you would like to build a more compassionate, supportive, understanding relationship with me? What does it look like? And then, yeah, like thinking about emotional strength, I've heard people say, I'm not emotionally strong, or I'm not mentally strong. And I feel like sometimes, when I hear someone saying that, it almost breaks my heart to hear people say, I'm not mentally strong, because what they perceive as being emotionally strong refers to not reacting, refers to not crying, um, feeling like they are always composed, pushing through, pretending to be fine. And if they are not able to do that, they feel like they lack emotional strength. But again, suppressing emotion is not the same as regulating emotion, because suppression means that I should not be feeling like this. Suppression means I need to get rid of this quickly. Um, it means that I have to stay strong. And someone here is asking, they're saying, can I say, can I stay and be more compassionate towards anger? Yes, we can. And anger is a secondary emotion, I would say. Anger shows something more inside us. Anger is a manifestation of a deeper emotion. It could be fear, it could be helplessness. Sometimes it could be frustration. So anger is a signal, it's telling you something. And you would also see that when anger arises, um, sometimes it's also quick to just pass. And we can blame ourselves for feeling angry, but even kids feel angry. Anger can also be a helpful emotion. So how can we deal with anger without it distracting us? And that's the task that we are undertaking today. That suppression means I should not feel angry. I need to get rid of this anger quickly. I have to stay strong. But then we also realize that that route doesn't help, because the emotion does not disappear. It simply gets stored, and it also gains strength. The longer we delay dealing with an emotion, the longer we delay dealing with what's underlying the emotion, we are only giving it more strength. And we can feel like, if I'm not looking at it, it is not present. But I guess that's the biggest folly, when it comes to dealing with our emotions. So, what are emotions? These are physiological experiences. It's an experience my mind is having, and not just my mind, even my body is having. So when emotions are repeatedly suppressed, um, the nervous system, it continues to carry that activation. It's not like if you've in your conscious mind put it away, it's not that your body is is accepting, that lie, or your nervous system is accepting that lie. It knows you're lying. You've just put it aside. It doesn't mean that it's gone. And you can feel it in how tense you feel. It can show up as fatigue, it can show up as irritability, chronic anxiety, emotional numbness, shutdown. So suppression is not free. It's costing us something. It takes from our energy. It takes from our us being regulated. It takes from our better decision making. So when we feel exhausted at times, it could not just be because of what's happening in life. It could also be because of the constant effort we are putting to hold our emotion down. We can tell ourselves that, okay, I'm not going to feel sad because it's not worth it. But to not feel what you're feeling is costing you something. And that's why emotional regulation even becomes more important, because what real emotional regulation does is that it allows you to feel the emotion fully while remaining connected to awareness, while remaining connected to a reality and to somewhere the awareness that it is just an emotion. It's uh, it's not the entire truth, because we know that as with thoughts, emotions also pass and fade if we give them the space that they need, or our care and attention. If a child is crying, say, you're not going to say that to stop crying, and everything will be okay. You will tend to it. You will want to know why the child is crying. You will want to find out what it needs from you. And we don't give ourselves the same treatment when we are suffering. So, uh, again, emotional regulation means feeling while staying present with your experience. Because emotions are like waves, you know, waves are of all kinds. Some are gentle, some are more intense, but waves come and go. So the goal then is not to stop the waves, but how can we learn to stay afloat when they arrive, no matter what the intensity is? And we've one of the ways to do that, and we'll be discussing, a couple of techniques that we can use when emotions arise. One of the ways to do that, as I think we also discussed in module one last week, was to not over identify ourselves with the emotion, and creating sort of a distance between what I feel and who I am. So if I am feeling anger, it doesn't mean I'm an angry person. It doesn't mean that we label ourselves as, I'm always angry, I am anger. If I'm feeling anxious, it doesn't mean that I'm an anxious person, I'm always anxious. We are quick to judge ourselves for feeling what we are feeling. So when we become aware of the emotion, we can have one level of separation, and if possible, two, three layers of separation between what I am feeling and who I am. I am not my emotion. I am feeling that way. And what it does that it makes you sort of, get some perspective on the fleeting nature of the emotion. We we don't tend to think of ourselves as the emotion, so it doesn't become permanent. And words matter. So every thought that we frame, how we frame it, it changes how we feel. And therefore, when we are able to say that I am feeling some anxiety, it is very different for the mind to process against when I say I am anxious. So that's one of the tools that you can use, that you are allowed to feel what you are feeling, and yet you are still capable of distancing yourself from the feeling by not making it a permanent state of being. Then the other thing that we can do when we are feeling big emotion, strong emotion, is that we can allow it to move through us. Now, emotions are also stored in the body. We can feel them in the body. And emotion is energy. It's moving through the nervous system. It's circulating within us, which is why movement can really help. So say, and movement doesn't mean that you have to go for a run. Every time you're feeling angry or every time you're feeling sad, it just means that sometimes an emotion can make us feel like stuck. So it prevents us from action. It prevents us from, moving around. It sort of freezes us. So one way to channel that emotional energy that's circulating within you is maybe through walking, some kind of stretching, shaking the body, breathing, uh, crying, speaking to someone, who can just like listen to you, journaling, anything that gives you an outlet to circulate that energy within you. That could be, making you feel frozen or making you feel stuck in that moment. And this often happens with, say, more graver emotions like, say, sadness, or emotions like, say, anxiety, where you feel like you just want to sit somewhere and you feel like you don't have enough agency, or you don't have enough strength to shake it off. So, especially in these kind of emotions, which are more, say, tamasic emotions, or more like pulling down emotions, some kind of movement, some kind of rajas in the body can can help you, like get that kind of vitality back inside you. It can help you to get up and get going. So again, you're not saying that I am not feeling sad, I'm going to shake it off and watch Netflix. It just means that you can acknowledge the emotion and you can still do something that will help you. You can even ask yourself, what do I need to do in this moment that's going to help me feel better? As you would ask a friend. So you can talk to yourself like you would talk to a friend, like someone you're taking care of. Treat yourself as your own caregiver and ask yourself, what at this time will make me feel better? Do I need to make myself a cup of coffee? Maybe that will help me feel better, and do that for yourself. So again, this is one of the tools that give yourself the the comfort, give yourself the sort of change, that will help you process or just move through the emotion. Then another thing that we can do is to name what we are feeling. And a lot of research has gone into this, and research shows that when we accurately name an emotion, it reduces a lot of activation in the emotional brain. So and we can think about it logically as well. Why does it happen? Why is naming so important? It is because the brain can only help us if it knows what it's dealing with. It needs sort of a direction, a compass, and the brain does want to help us. It can't really help us if it's confused or if it doesn't know which battle it is fighting. So then when you tell yourself, okay, I'm feeling hurt, or if you when you tell yourself, I'm feeling rejected, I'm feeling lonely, it knows sort of, how to solve that problem of loneliness. It'll give you some suggestions on how you can deal with your loneliness. If it doesn't know that you're feeling lonely, it'll feel limited in its capacity to help you. So then, rather than just saying, okay, I'm not feeling so good, or I'm feeling bad, or I'm just feeling down, maybe go one step further and think about what it is that is making you feel down. What is the emotion? Are you feeling bad because you're alone? Are you feeling bad because something bad happened at work and you're feeling criticized? Are you feeling bad because somebody said something to you on a text and you feel hurt? And that specificity of what you're dealing with, what the emotion is, it really helps us to regulate the emotion better. So, so yeah, like drilling down a bit and not leaving it at, I don't feel good today, but trying to understand what it is that I am feeling, what is making me feel that way, and then what will make me feel better. Is there something I can do for myself? Yeah, yeah, it's true that I am hurt. I'm not lying to myself and saying that it's all right. It doesn't matter. It shouldn't matter. I know that this has happened. I feel angry. I feel upset now. What do I do? How can I be my own friend and offer that compassion, that company, that love to myself? So, um, so yeah, and in a lot of say spirituality, especially in Buddhism, we are taught to observe the emotion and to sit with the emotion. What does that even mean, to sit with your emotion? It means that when you feel something, if it's possible, and sometimes it's not possible in the midst of daily life while things are happening, but when you get a chance next, maybe when you're wrapping your day, or when you have those 5-7 minutes to yourself, then sitting down and really allowing yourself to feel what you're feeling. Mm. Naming it, staying connected with it, and asking yourself, how can I offer myself compassion for, because I am suffering. So, um, so yeah, like holding that space, holding that love for yourself is is perhaps the best gift you can give to yourself. And we have a question here which we will probably address, after our practice. Um, which we will do now. And in this practice, we'll just learn to be able to feel our emotion, and then also, um, if it wants to go away, allow it to pass. So, so yeah, starting the practice with sitting straight, and if it feels okay, closing your eyes. But if not, you can also just lower your gaze. And with that, finding your breath, noticing how your breath is today, and you'll find that the more you connect with your breath, you'll feel how it changes. Yesterday it was something else, today it's different. After 5 minutes it might be different again. So just observing how it is for you today without judging your breath. And maybe running through your body, in your mind, any areas of stress you find, tension, sending some love in your breath to that part of your body. And then seeing if you can just deepen your breath a bit. making the exhale a bit longer than the inhale. And then bringing to mind an emotion you have been feeling recently. So, if possible, staying away from the story and focusing more on the feeling itself. What emotion have you been feeling recently? And if you're able to connect with the emotion, also notice where it lives in your body. How do you feel it? It could feel like, sometimes like heat. It could feel like some tightness somewhere, heaviness. You could feel it maybe in your breath, um, restlessness, contraction. How are you feeling it in the body? You can tend to feel it in the belly area. You can tend to feel it in the chest. And and if it's accessible to you today, also notice what's your mind's immediate impulse. How does it want to problem solve this for you? Does it want to escape and start thinking about something completely different, which could be perhaps a safe space for you, to take your mind to? Does it start thinking of solutions to instantly fix the problem? Does it start to suppress or get angry and react? Does it want to distract itself? What does the mind start doing once the emotion becomes really present inside us? And we all have our very intelligent and unique ways um, of suppressing emotions. Very creative. What does your mind immediately do when it's confronted with a difficult emotion? And this is what, if you are able to identify, this is often what we have learned to do with difficult emotions. So now just pausing that feeling, just pausing where you are and allowing yourself to breathe, inhaling softly, exhaling slowly and fully, and asking yourself, like, can I stay with this feeling for just one more breath? Just the feeling, not the story, not the escape route, not the creativity. Can I stay with this feeling for just one more breath? One more breath, one more breath. And if the mind starts playing tricks and takes you away, returning to your breath whenever you catch yourself. Again, not judging yourself, not labeling yourself, very kindly bringing yourself back. And maybe at this point, talking to yourself like a friend, talking to your emotions. Hi, sadness, I see you. I'm your friend. If there is any message you want to give to me, you can. What can I do to support you? No, I'm there for you. You can give some assurance, give some love to the emotion and not hate it and not like treat it as your enemy. And maybe it has a message for you. Maybe Maybe there's something that you've neglected, maybe something you haven't looked at, maybe something that just needs more attention from you, more care. Then maybe repeating this silently in your mind. Even though I can struggle with dealing with this emotion, I deeply and completely love, honor, and accept myself. Even though I can judge myself for feeling what I do, I deeply and completely love, honor, and accept myself. Even though I'm still learning to sit with my emotions, I deeply and completely love, honor, and accept myself. Giving some thanks to your breath, expressing gratitude to breath, body, mind, and bringing some gentle movement back to your toes and fingers. If you feel like giving yourself a nice stretch. And when you feel ready, you can open your eyes. And then to end with, and as your homework, just one question to reflect on. What emotion feels hardest for me to simply sit with? What emotion feels hardest for me to sit with? And that becomes, our work then to create, to establish a new relationship with that emotion, one that's more compassionate, more attentive, more responsible. So yeah, that brings an end to the me talking part of it. I'd like to just go through a couple of questions that are there. So I think Garima is saying that respond versus react is one key solution to deal with anger. And yeah, it just comes down to, are we reacting, or are we taking some time and responding to it with more composure. Mm, that's life, I guess. Learning how to juggle with that, and we are all in our journey. So yeah, you're right. It's the key to dealing with anger. And then Srisha says, if an emotion is strong or intense, where's the line between expressing the emotion and overreacting? Yeah, it's actually, this distinction can be difficult sometimes to make, because some things could be hard, and some emotions could be strong. I would say that when we are able to tend to the emotion, at least for that few moments or whatever time that we can give it, we would realize that some of the work is already done. I have already solved half the problem by giving my love, care, and attention and time to that emotion that I'm feeling. And the rest of it is perhaps, I can bring in contribution from the situation, from other people. So the distinction is that I am not outsourcing the entire job to someone else to deal with. My anger, my sadness, my frustration, my disappointment is also my business to take care of. So, so then thinking for yourself, am I wanting to outsource all of it to this person who's caused this, in my opinion? Or am I dealing with it first by myself, tending to it in whatever way I can, sitting with it, understanding it, and then taking it ahead. So we can still react, and yeah, we can still be angry. It doesn't mean that all of the anger has to be, dissolved before we confront an issue. Anger can also be helpful. However, again, the difference is if I have tended to it first myself before putting it ahead. And then the second thing is how to offer compassion even after expressing strong emotions and not go into guilt or shaming. Mm, do you mean guilt or shaming other people, or is it like guilt or shaming
Well,
yourself?
like, people express a strong emotion and then say, oh, I shouldn't have done that. I should have had more control that way,
Yeah.
even if it was
Yeah,
a valid reaction.
yeah, yeah. So again, like what we've been sort of trying to learn and trying to practice is that what part of the brain are we acting from? Is it an immediate reaction which I haven't thought through, and it's at the spurt of the moment because I haven't been able to really like take just a moment or two to process what I'm feeling, or um, I know that it's okay to be upset, it's okay to be angry. I've tended to my own flame for like a minute or two, and then I've expressed it. So again, uh, it's all right to be angry with someone. It's all right to be disappointed. It's all right to feel hurt and rejected. We are human. We are going to feel that way. So, not wanting to be perfect, and again, like not feeling that it's bad to feel sad. It's bad to feel, disappointed in someone. People will disappoint us. We will disappoint others. You know, but have we been able to first give that that love, compassion, attention to ourselves, or we just want it from others because we can't do it for ourselves? And I think that's the only distinction that we need to uh, be making, and also like working on. um, every time something like that happens, it's perhaps going to take all of our lives to get there, but not feeling like it's someone else's job to solve it for me. I need to, yeah, it'll be in collaboration at times. We are interdependent. I don't exist just as myself, but at the same time, I am the boss of my reaction. And yeah, this is what we're trying to accomplish. So I hope that, I really hope that at least something, maybe this would have helped perhaps solve or feel make you feel like you are empowered in some way. And tomorrow we will explore more about emotional habits and why quick relief can often pull us away from long-term well-being. So how can we move from short-term, you know feeling good and quickly wanting to solve things for us, uh, vis-a-vis taking some time and cultivating habits, cultivating thoughts that will sustain us and create long term well being for us. Anything else, if anyone wants to say, or if there's a question, any feedback, then please do. Okay, so we'll end today. And thank you. And if you have any thoughts, from any of the previous sessions, we can take it up tomorrow. You can put it in the chat tomorrow. If you practice something, and it brings up, say, a challenge, or you feel like you could do it well, even that would be great for everyone to, hear from you and learn from your experience. So, yeah, with that, thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for being here, and see you tomorrow.
Thank you, Nidhi.
You're welcome. Thanks. Bye.